The Bobby, the BK Karalla. We're going to talk Mavs. We're going to talk Summer League, Jaden Hardy, JaVale, Christian Wood, and what these Vegas win totals, if they're right or wrong. Coming up next on Locked On Mavs.
Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
Welcome to Locked On Mavs. This one of your co-hosts, Isaac Harris. And I'm here with the one and only Bobby. If you guys are watching on YouTube, you know the drill by now. Leave a comment below. Literally comment below. Actually, I have something for you to comment. Comment your favorite Bobby in the world. It could be a movie star. It could be an athlete. It could be this Bobby right here. Who's your favorite Bobby of all time? Leave it in the YouTube comments below. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season for more props, odds, lines ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. BK Karalla, how are you doing? We literally just spent like 2 nights together this week, and now there's a third night.
Yeah, we had a Mavs State Media Summit earlier this week, so it was a lot of fun to hang out with you. I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on the show. Top tier intro. It always pumps me up and gets me ready to talk sports. And also, I really, really strongly hope that I am nobody's favorite Bobby, except for maybe like my parents or something. But otherwise, you should definitely have at least one Bobby you like more than me.
Did you take advantage of the Mavs sale the other day? The sale at the hangar?
I did not actually. Apparently, a lot of people did. But yeah, no. Usually, I do go over and check it out. But this year, I didn't. I think the combination of like Summer League, and then on Friday, I took the day off. So it was kind of like just one of those things where I missed out. But apparently there were a lot of really great deals. And so hopefully a lot of Mavs fans were able to get some good stuff for on the cheap.
It's because you already have plenty of Porzingis jerseys. So
yeah, I got loads. I actually have a Dennis jersey. I got a DeLon Wright City Edition jersey. I got 1 or 2 KP things. I got this shirt. You know, I got all sorts of good stuff.
My most jealous possession of yours is your Dennis Rodman Mavs shirt.
Ooh, dude. Okay.
Was I on eBay the other day looking this shirt up? Yes, I was.
Yeah. You can't find it, though. And the reason I know you can't find it is because I'm not even supposed to have that shirt. So back in the day, whenever we moved from Deep Ellum to the Design District, so this is like 2016, 2017, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
We had this huge warehouse space at the old office, and we had to clear it all out, obviously, because we had to get everything out of there and move it. But a bunch of that stuff we were just going to throw away. And so before, like the day before or the day of, where all of our people were going to go in there and decide, like, pitch it, keep it, let it go, you know, I just started looking through some stuff, and I found a box. And in the box is a bunch of crap, but then beneath that were like 6 or 7 of those shirts. And so I grabbed maybe 6 or 7 of them, and I've been safely, you know, harboring them in my possession for many years until Mark Cuban finds out that I have them, and I got to give them back.
I was gonna say, did you just admit to like a felony, or is that?
Honestly, maybe, but Mark himself is like the ultimate Dennis Rodman memorabilia owner holder, as the only one with a 69 Rodman jersey. So I feel like if anything, Mark should understand what I'm doing.
So I went digging through. So I went to the sale on Friday, and you know there was about, I want to say 3,422 Porzingis jerseys, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna like dig through it. I found a Josh Richardson jersey. Shout out. Vulgaris didn't buy it in time, and then I came across a Devin Harris jersey.
Hey, okay, let's go.
My last name.
Do you think that Bob is more popular than me? Who's like the number one Bob in Mavsville?
Oh, no.
I guess it depends on how the team is doing.
People didn't know about him until Cato wrote a story. So
that's true. That's true. He was just in the shadows the whole time. Josh Richardson jersey, that's a nice pull. In that same era where we were just digging through stuff, there was like a bunch of, you know, like the more kind of obscure Mavs, like Tony Delk or you know, guys
Tony Delk working for the team
Jan
now.
Stephenson, for example. Huh?
Do you know Tony Delk's role with the Mavs? Because I don't, but I saw the B-roll of Mavs like draft room footage, and
Is he my
Tony Delk
coworker?
he was in the room. Your coworker, Tony
Oh,
Delk.
okay. He must be some type of advanced scout then, or something.
Okay. Sorry
Maybe
to
not an
put you on
advanced
the
scout, maybe a
spot here.
college scout. Wow, I did not know that. I'm teammates with Tony Delk, dude. That's awesome. That is awesome.
Okay. We're going to talk about Summer League. We're going to talk about JaVale Christian Wood additions. We're going to talk about the Vegas win total odds. But first, let's talk about Summer League. So, as we alluded to earlier, Bobby and I spent Tuesday and Thursday of this past week doing a remote stream of Studio 41 of live alternate broadcast of both the Summer League games. Now, the first game was like 30-point blowout, whatever.
That
Second
was
one,
a good one, though.
we were joined by Austin Garuya. It's a lot of fun. But that was the remote Studio 41, basically. And for Mavs fans who listen to this podcast or watch the show from literally around the world, can you give the like overview of what Studio 41 is for Mavs.com, what it was used for this past year, what it looks like for this coming season?
Yeah, so during the COVID season, so 2021, whenever like no fans could go to games, Mike Marshall and I were really trying to think of ways to like bring fans in somehow. You know, if they couldn't physically be there, then what's a way that we could maybe like take the team to them beyond just watching the games themselves or listening to podcasts or something, like, you know, do something different. And at the same time, our marketing team, on Mark's direction, I guess, was really starting to look into live streaming, especially on Twitch in particular. And so those two ideas kind of came together. Well, like, what if we just started what if we just started streaming live, just doing stuff, just something. And so last summer, we kind of tooled around with this show called Mavs Vault, where it was about collectibles. We did some other like small stuff, but at the start of the 21-22 season, I just started talking about the team every day. So it was in the morning from like 10 to noon Central Time in this little tiny nook in the back of our office that Jason Chinnick, who's one of my coworkers, was able to turn into like a honest to goodness studio, man. I mean, we got like 5 cameras in there. We got a desk and everything, stuff on the walls. Like it's really well done. And I just sit kind of at a desk in the corner in my little basement and just watch film or, you know, highlights of the previous game, scout the next opponent, just do whatever, just hang out for a few hours online with Mavs fans who, you know, maybe they live in Europe and they can't stay up late enough to watch our games that start at 4 a.m. Or maybe they're in college, or they don't have class, or maybe they're at work and they're just watching on their second monitor and just hanging out live. But we don't want it to stop there. We want to do other stuff. So like what you and I did last week, just live streaming, doing an alternate broadcast of the Summer League games. And we have plans to do something like that maybe for regular season games too. But that's, you know, we'll see if we get there this year. But some of it is just kind of like a recognition that, you know, the game is changing and streaming games is changing, and the future of broadcast is maybe in question. Traditional TV broadcast will never go away, of course, but like there might be other opportunities to do things. And so we might as well, you know, learn how streaming works, because one day we're going to maybe wake up to an email saying, hey, you guys have the broadcast of Mavs Celtics tonight. So part of it is in preparation, but also part of it too is just doing something different, doing something new that people maybe haven't seen before. And in the process, you know, we've gained fans that are like Wolves fans or Jazz fans or Grizzlies fans or Pacers fans, that their teams aren't doing anything on Twitch. We are. And so they kind of, you know, they now consume the NBA through Mavs lens, which is just, we're just adding to the Mavs fan army.
Mavs
The propaganda arm of this company is doing really well right now.
No, it's so cool. You know, through the playoffs, I got to hop on with you guys every Friday, and we just had a lot of fun with it. And like you said, you stream every single day. It has been, you know, 10 a.m. Central Time. And, you know, Cat's on there, Chopper, different, you know, crew members on there. And it's literally just like a hangout. And the crew and the community there has been really cool to see. Like you said, you know, there's one person on there, it's a Wolves fan that's been, you know, that chimes in and
my
in
guy
the chat.
K-Cat, dude. Love that
K-Cat, yeah. But it was, a lot of fun. And I think, I'm excited for it. So if you're a Mavs fan, can you lay out, you know, the Twitch channel? Do you know that you probably don't know the times yet for next season or what the offseason?
Yeah, I don't. I think the plan is going to change a little bit to where we might do streaming like in the afternoon or even into the evening, just to maybe try and see if American people would watch a little more, and then maybe mix that in with some morning stuff too. But that's on twitch.tv/Dallas Mavericks. But we also might do some stuff on YouTube as well. We have a ton of subs on our YouTube, and so of course doing stuff for them would make sense as well. So that's just Dallas Mavericks on YouTube. It's the one with the most followers. You'll be able to find that. Doing stuff live and also produce stuff like the film room, for example, or Chopper will put together these edits where it's like phantom cam footage of a game set to classical music underneath, and it's just awesome. So we're really just trying to experiment and do a bunch of new stuff on YouTube too. So really, Studio 41 is like the real obscure avant-garde creation wing of the digital team. So it's been pretty fun so far.
Yeah, super big shout out to Chopper for making all that stuff behind the scenes, and it's cool. It's cool. So y'all gotta subscribe on Twitch, watch on YouTube. I'm sure I'll be back on there doing some fun stuff with you guys,
so.
and yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the summer league and get Bobby's takeaway from Jaden Hardy and the crew. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league reviews, and news, including this year's NHL playoffs and Major League Baseball. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores, and it remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcast news this season. It's the fastest and easiest way to check on in all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Bobby, we're back. We did the alternate streams, but now we're post Summer League. All Summer League is done for the Mavs. If you had to do, I get that it's Summer League. I get all of that. But if you had to do one big takeaway from Summer League, what would you say?
Oh, man.
To not have takeaways?
My biggest takeaway, the ultimate takeaway, is to not take too much away from Summer League. But of course, it's easy to say that when your team went 0-5. I thought Jaden Hardy. I'm curious to. I guess like maybe I'll find out just through the grapevine or something. But I'm curious to know kind of like what the coaches wanted to see from him, right? Like because it felt like at times he'd be real aggressive. At times he would sort of facilitate. So I wonder if they told him like, hey, this quarter, like, let's go out and get your shot. Because there'd be some times where like whether he had to go in or not, he would really look for a shot. Yeah. There would be other times where he'd really look to get to the basket. There'd be times where he'd really look to get his teammates involved. So I think they were kind of like maybe like asking certain things from him at certain times. But I think the aspect of his game that I was most impressed with was kind of that in-between mid-range, like 15 to 18 feet. Looked like he was just really comfortable, whether he was going left, going right, like going to the basket and then stepping back, or like, coming off a ball screen and stopping and popping from 20 feet. That mid-range area he was really, really good in. And I know obviously in this era, mid-range shots are kind of deemed bad, like don't shoot those, but you're only coached to not shoot them if you're bad at them. Luka, Jalen Brunson, even Dinwiddie at times take a lot of those shots. And so within the Mavs offense, there's going to be room for him to take those. And so if that can be a pretty reliable weapon, then I think he'll be, productive from day one. But, you see the flash of potential, but you also see the areas where I think improvement is going to be needed. Ball handling, ball security for sure. Going at the basket and finishing through contact. I feel like he wasn't getting the friendliest whistle. I don't think I can get fined for saying that because it's only Summer League, but he didn't get a very generous whistle, I thought, especially in that what was the game that we did? Phoenix? Or it was the Milwaukee game. Fouls were like 40 to 20 in the Bucks' favor. So he was trying to take on these bigger defenders, just wasn't able to finish through them. So, finishing and ball handling, I think definitely areas for improvement. But my biggest takeaway is like, man, he can pull up from 18 feet and be just fine, which is pretty impressive and advanced stuff for a guy his age.
I feel like that Milwaukee game, anytime he got to the nail there, he had a couple of those, so smooth. He has the touch. I feel like he's so comfortable in that spot. But I love your point that you made about the coaches and what they asked of him, because I think, I made a joke about it on Twitter that, after game one, he puts up 28. There's people in the YouTube comments saying, is he better than Jalen? Hello, we got our replacement. And then after, this fifth game, it's like, dude, is he even good? Like, what's going on? And it's like, all right, first off, it's Summer League. Let's chill. But, you saw his efficiency, changed a little bit. Didn't, at the first game, he was pretty efficient. Good game from him. But look what he was doing or what he was asked to do. It's like, felt like he drove so much. He got to the basket. He played so disciplined that first game. And maybe it's something, I mean, I'm reaching for stuff right here, but maybe it's something that because they did switch up coaches, they had 3 head coaches in Summer League. Dallas did. So, with Dudley and George there and obviously Greg, it's like, I wonder if, different coaches asked him to do different things. So therefore it's like, I mean, he's already going to be on the team. Like he's already going to be part of the future. So it's, hey, let's just like see what he's got. Let's play around here with it. And maybe that affected some of the efficiency. So I do think it's a little like, hey, let's calm down a little bit. It's funny because I was like calm down after game 1. And now I'm doing the like calm down after, game 5 too. But
he really is good. He really is good. Do you remember game 1? I think there's something to that, the having different coaches thing, but also, on that team, like Jarek Harding, kind of more of a score first guard. Alessandro Paiola, can definitely facilitate and initiate, but he's not like breaking guys down and getting into the lane. And so there was never really any sort of like true facilitator on the floor for them. Whereas like with Luka leads the league in drives per game. I mean, he's going to break his man down 20, 25 times a night and then kick it out to Hardy or Dinwiddie will or whoever. So, there's much more just natural playmaking, obviously, on the Mavs roster than there would be on their Summer League roster. So we were having to watch Hardy break down the entire defense as opposed to capitalizing off of someone else's work. And the big men that he were working with, Marcus Bingham Jr., I feel like is a pretty intriguing guy. Gorham was good. Moses Wright obviously is good, but they're not the same kind of caliber of big men that he's going to be dancing with in the pick and roll of the NBA either. And so that's why, there's not too much you can take away. I really want to see what he's going to look like in an actual NBA game with NBA teammates, as opposed to something that's kind of a little more chaotic like Summer League.
Speaking of who he could play with next year, let's just go to JaVale and Christian Wood. So since, the moratorium ends, you can't talk or say anything for 7 days. You can't even like breathe or get coffee or what's that new place you went to eat at the other day? You were telling me about the bodega.
The bodega on Highline. Super good. Would definitely recommend.
I passed it the other day when I was down and I was like, all right, I got to go to it at some point. So it's on my list now, but Christian Wood
chicken quesadilla. Thank me later.
Barbecue chicken on the case. I know you say you got a quesadilla. I didn't know. Oh, barbecue chicken.
Barbecue chicken.
Okay.
Man.
Let's go.
It's so good.
Now that JaVale is officially back a Maverick, Christian Wood officially a Maverick, what was your just thoughts when those deals happened? Thoughts on them going into next season? 2 big lineup. Now our buddy Cato's like, I don't know about Christian Wood starting, him reporting that. Just what do you think about the kind of remade front line?
Yeah, I mean, Christian Wood is kind of, different physically, and there are some other differences, but he's kind of a KP, not a clone exactly, but he's reminiscent of KP's skill set. Pick and pocket big man, can go to the basket and dunk, has some touch in the post and in the mid range. Feels like Wood is probably a little better ball handler than KP, but can still kind of break his man down off the dribble a little bit. Very dynamic big. And so I think, whenever they made that move, I was thinking, just like many other fans, okay, you slide him into the starting lineup. There's your Dwight replacement, or Dwight upgrade, or however you want to view it. But, with that comes kind of defensive shortcomings, of course. He's not like, he can block shots, but he's not going to just totally lock down Jokic or Embiid, right? And so that's why the McGee addition makes sense. But the fact that J-Kidd was so outwardly like, yeah, he's our starting center, that signals to me that they're not going all in on this sort of like versatile switchable big, which frankly for the last several years I've kind of been under the impression that they were leaning further into. Guys like Kleba, Dwight Powell is even playing on the perimeter. He's not necessarily going to switch and defend guards, but he's defending further out, right? Willie Cauley-Stein, even going back to like Nerlens. These are guys that defend on the perimeter. And you look at teams that were successful this season, Golden State, Kevon Looney was guarding Luka all the time, and switching onto guards and wings in the finals even. Boston, Robert Williams and Al Horford. Miami, Bam Adebayo. These are the kind of bigs that are succeeding at this super high level. And so I thought that the Mavs are going to pursue more players like that. However, having JaVale is kind of more of like the old school, like Rudy Gobert, maybe Brook Lopez, like these bigs that you really want to funnel all the traffic into. And that suggests playing something a little more conservative, like drop coverage or something like that. Whereas the Mavs this year were playing just a little further out, a little more aggressive than drop, which I thought suited their personnel well. I don't want to out your opinion about Gobert on the Mavs in case you never talk. I'm sure you did talk about it, but I don't want to say what you told me. But you and I talked about Gobert on the Mavs, like during and I think maybe even before the playoffs. And I said, yeah, they'd be awesome with him. They'd be like a top 5 defense.
Yeah.
I wasn't too bullish on the idea though, because I kind of prefer these more like versatile mobile bigs. McGee, I think, is a little more palatable than Gobert, obviously, because they didn't have to give up 5 first-round picks for him, and he's making like $5 million as opposed to $40 million. And JaVale will accept probably 20 minutes or 15 minutes per game as opposed to Gobert wanting like 35. So it is different, but it is just kind of it's a different way to defend, I think, than how they have the last few years. I mean, it's been a while since they've had like a real sort of traditional prototypical rim protecting big, and so I'm curious to see how they defend with McGee on the floor. I do like his game on offense. I really like what he can do. I mean, he's kind of Dwight-ish. And on defense, he blocks shots, gets rebounds, and those Jokic and Embiid matchups aren't just like auto adjustments where you have to double team or play a zone or do some other stuff to junk it up. Like you can just put JaVale on them 1v1, and he can reasonably hold his own in ways, in the best ways that opponents can. No one can stop Embiid, but Embiid or McGee can at least kind of hold his own a little bit. So there's pros and cons, but ultimately, I mean, if it doesn't work out, they're going to adjust, whether bring McGee off the bench or start Wood as well or whatever. Last year we went into the starting lineup with like Luka, Tim, KP entrenched in the starting 5, and like by week 2 it was like, all right, let's get Jalen in the starting lineup. And
wait, did you just list the leadership council or the starting?
Yeah, I did. Remember that was a thing that totally existed, and
who's on it?
Dunking on it, and then a couple months later it was all gone. So
who's on it now?
Nothing is permanent.
Who's on this thing now? Is it just?
Well, Tim is still on the Mavs.
Luka's
it's Luka and Tim, and I guess maybe you. I don't know. You're pretty plugged in.
I love the JaVale. I love the JaVale signing. You might have to put some earphones on for this one and shut your ears off because you love Dwight so much. It was an upgrade over Dwight of, hey, like, can we get a bigger body who rolls to the rim? Dwight is an elite rim roller, but JaVale gives them 80% of that, as far as rim rolling, but then he's a bigger body for a better rebounder, better, paint defender, interior defender. And for that cost for $5 million, some Mavs fans freaked out a little bit. It's like, JaVale's getting all of our, tax mid and like all this stuff. And it's like, well, once you take out Hardy's, 1.5, whatever, and it's like equals out to like $5.5 million a year, ends up being like 17 over 3 years. I'm like, sign me up, like for what the role.
If you can get a veteran at that price to give you like starting quality minutes, even if he's only playing 20 instead of 36, but like he's a good productive NBA player at that price, really good deal. So I don't know what I couldn't get mad at that even if I wanted to.
No. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back. Let's talk about some win totals in Vegas. All right, Bobby. So got on the Twitter sphere yesterday and saw some win totals being thrown around. And now BetOnline, which is a sponsor for us, doesn't have their win totals out yet, so we can't use BetOnline. When they come out, we'll talk about them. But this one's from PointsBet USA. NBA Bet tweeted it out, official account for that. And I was really curious on where Mavs fans are feeling about the projected win total for the Mavs. So let's just look at the West for a second. They have the Clippers at number 1 in the West at 53.5. They have Phoenix underneath that at 52.5. Then they have Memphis at 51.5. And then Golden State and Denver at 50.5. So you have the Clippers, Suns, Grizzlies.
Golden State 4th, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Tied with Denver in this. So Clippers, Suns, Grizzlies, Warriors, Nuggets. And then in the 6th spot in the West, they have Minnesota at 48.5. Now we know how the NBA works with this now. Now that's permanent, the play-in tournament. That 1 through 6 is the, I guess, playoffs. And 7 through 10 is the play-in there. So 48.5 for Minnesota puts them at the 6th spot. Dallas at the 7th spot as a play-in team at 47.5. Then after that, it kind of drops about four wins down to New Orleans at 43.5, and then Portland at 41.5. So it's like a top 6, kind of top 7. It's only a game off from Minnesota for Dallas, and then a drop to New Orleans and Portland. Initial thought about that: too low, too high, about good? Are you confident in it? You're like, all right, this is gonna, like, so I tweeted it out, and the overwhelming response back to it was way over. We're gonna hit way over on that. What was your thoughts when you saw it?
Because they just aren't big Donovan Mitchell believers, or what? I mean, Utah's just nowhere to be found.
Well, to be fair, let me preface this real quick. They don't have the Lakers on here yet because it's like Lakers, Nets, Knicks, and Jazz. They have not given win totals yet for.
Okay.
So Jazz, they're gonna suck. But for the Lakers, sorry, David Locke. David Locke entering a rebuild. Pray for this guy.
You were biting the hand that feeds you all throughout the first round. I respect it.
But no, okay. So Lakers in that too. We don't know where they'll land.
Yeah, I mean, I think no betting, no tipping, no fixing, of course. NBA, big NBA. I'm just talking here. I think those are always usually a little lower. Like, when was the last time that the number 1 seed in the West had 53 wins? Like, there's always a team that pops off for like 60. You know, it always happens because you get hot or whatever. This past season, the Mavs finished with 52 wins?
Yeah.
And they had like a month where Luka was out and the whole roster had COVID. And so had that not happened, the Mavs might have pushed for 60. Like, I'm just being honest, Now, do I think that they're going to have that good of a season next year? I don't know. I mean, losing Jalen Hurts, a bunch of teams in the West, or at least a couple teams in the West, getting significantly better. The Clippers and the Nuggets, I would think. We'll see about the Wolves, man. I don't know. I mean, I think Gobert is really good. I'm a big Gobert guy. Him and Towns together, I don't know. Beverly and Vanderbilt were so important to what they were doing last year. So we'll see. D'Angelo Russell's future is kind of shaky. So I don't know about that. But, I think the Mavs are definitely at least a legit contender for a top 6 seed. I don't know how many wins, just because, the East is presumably going to be a little stronger with young teams getting better and Milwaukee getting a little healthier with Middleton coming back and everything. And Denver's going to be healthy, and Clippers are going to be healthy, and the Lakers might do something. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. So, a lot of the teams, like the Mavs swept the Celtics last year. The Mavs won 3 games against the Warriors last year. The Mavs won 3 games against the Nuggets last year. Like, can they do that again? I have no idea. But I do know that the Mavs will beat the Knicks at least one time next year. I'm calling that now. The Mavs will beat the Wizards at least once. And, the Mavs will, they might sweep the Spurs again, but I'm not going to guarantee that. But, there are wins to be had, but it's going to be tough to win 52 again. So I don't know. I feel like 47.5 is probably about right at this point. Offseason isn't finished yet, but projecting them, whatever that was, 7th or 8th, probably seems a little too low, especially at that win total. But I'm no expert, and I'm not giving gambling advice.
Yeah, we did a pod right after Ayton, went back to Phoenix. Phoenix matched his offer sheet for Indiana, and as a Mavs fan, I'm like, hey, can you just go to Indiana? Like that'd be cool, because I thought that would be a blow to Phoenix if they just lost him for nothing, obviously. But with him coming back to Phoenix, like, all right, Clippers getting Kawhi. I'm really high on what Denver did this offseason. And Bruce Brown and some of these guys. Who's the other guy that I really? KCP.
Yep.
Obviously getting their guys back, and Murray and Porter. So
losing Monty Morris is big, though. That is a big thing.
Yeah. But I like Bones a lot. So maybe they're picturing Bones to step in there. So it's like, all right, Golden State. So I see why those 5 teams, Memphis too, I guess they're riding the wave of, last year. It's the Minnesota, Dallas, Lakers, where I don't know where the Lakers fall into this, because they're probably going to pull off some dumb trade and be good, or turn Westbrook into like 3 quality good players, and now they have depth and all this stuff. But Lonnie Walker, he's awesome, guys.
You were really high on him. Don't pretend like you weren't a Lonnie Walker stan.
I was. You can't bat 100 when it comes to draft stuff. And it's like, I love Donovan Mitchell. I loved OG. And then it was like the next year, I'm like, Lonnie Walker's my guy. And he hasn't been great. I will say Tari Easton, I'm feeling good about after Summer League.
That was a good one.
You know, you just choose the things about Summer League that you're like, ooh, Ousmane Dieng. All right, that's my guy too. But I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to enjoy the one that I feel good in, Tari Easton. But
can I just say though, okay, and OG was 2017, right? That was peak Mark on the Stairmaster era.
Yeah.
And there was one day where I asked Mark about OG, kind of just like it wasn't like an on the record thing. I think Indiana was on. And I was like, OG, he's pretty good. Like I like OG a lot. I think that should be the guy. Because by then the Mavs were already like 6 in a million. So like it was clear they were going to be in the top 10.
Yeah.
And I was like, OG, pretty solid. And then everybody around me, all the writers around me looked at me like I was a huge idiot. And I was like, just trust me on this one, guy. Like he's going to be really, really good. So I feel vindicated on OG too.
Oh yeah. That was back in my blogging days. And I literally did a player profile just on OG, and I talked to Yogi about him because Yogi played with him some Indiana. God. And it's one of those, you know, you always have these quotes that you'll never forget. And I remember Yogi looking at me and he's like, dude, OG has tree trunks for legs. And I put it in the story, and I'll always remember it. But he got hurt in college and stuff. So people didn't know really what to do with him. And I'm excited to see him flourishing. But the 43.5 number for New Orleans is fascinating to me too. 'Cause I really like their team. And I'm like, dang, it feels like they should be higher than 43.5. But I don't know. I guess they're still super young too.
And like, can Zion stay healthy? You know,
yeah.
How many did they have last year even without him? They got close to 40, right?
Ooh, that's a good question. I should have this pulled up.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that they could finish higher, even if he doesn't play at all. Like he doesn't play a single down all year, you know.
Well, they had 36 wins.
They had 30.
Here's my thing. This is why the play-in should not even happen. Anyway, they were fun in the playoffs. I get it, but when you're 10 wins under 500 and you make the playoffs, then I have an issue with it. Sorry.
Yeah,
you can say I don't like fun, but
no, dude, plan. I'm with you. I hate the plan, but I love the in-season tournament. So I guess call me a contrarian.
Yeah, but shout out to the Drew League. It was really cool. LeBron had a really efficient 18 for 36 game.
He played in the Drew League? I didn't hear about that.
All right, stop. Have you just been under a rock?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay. I was like, really? You've really been playing a lot of Pokemon.
Okay, I have been doing that too, but I still have been keeping up with the NBA.
Yeah.
And NBA adjacent stuff.
Built different, 42 points in the Drew League. I don't have a clue. They must have played against a really stacked team because they only won by 2. But then I looked at the roster.
They really only won by 2?
Yeah, they won by 2, and he was 18 of 36. But shout out, DeMar DeRozan, good game. So 47.5 for Dallas. I'm going to take the over. I know I can speak on this more probably than you can, but I'm expecting another move before the start of the season. And I think if I could hop on this, I probably would, just because if they make another move and they bring in another ball handler or another scorer off the bench or another wing or something, or both of them, I think it could push their win total up into that kind of next group. So I'm excited.
I think there's a few different very obvious moves that they can make. So I would be, not to be a snake oil salesman or anything, but I would be very, very surprised if this is the roster they took into training camp.
You heard it here first. Aggregate Bobby right now for all your blogs and podcasts.
Yeah, I'm super plugged in, guys. It's me, the news guy. That's me.
Okay. Follow Bobby on Twitter. Follow Studio 41 on Twitter. I need to look up the handle. Is it Mavs Studio 41 on Twitter or Studio 41?
Yes, sir. Mavs Studio 41.
At Mavs Studio 41 on Twitter. Follow him on Twitch at Dallas Mavericks Twitch TV.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Something like that. Yep. I'm not well versed in the Twitch world, so there you go.
You're a streamer, man. Come on. You should know this.
I should know this. All right, Bobby, any closing thoughts? You got anything else? Or are we good?
No, I don't think so. Get another playmaker. Just please get another playmaker, and I'll be pretty happy. And I'll miss watching JB play for the Mavs, but it is what it is, and we keep moving forward.
Yeah, and Bobby didn't want Dragic. So Have a great day. No,
Okay,
I'm just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. Don't want the comments to pop off.
I still think that trade with Miami, Olynyk and Derek Jones, I still stand by that being a good trade. But
oh my gosh, I forgot all about that.
Not the time or place to bring that back up. So we'll get to that some other time.
All right, guys, it's been good. And we'll be back tomorrow for another Locked On Mavs. Peace out.